Hi, I'm Dave Anderson, Director of Technical Sales at AMSOIL Incorporated. What you're about to see is documented proof of a maintenance program that's guaranteed to save you money. You'll be there with us on the spot at the Virginia Truck Center in Chester, Virginia, as we tear down and examine the engine parts of a 1990 E7 400 Mack truck engine. But this is no ordinary engine. This engine has run 409,000 miles on a single oil change. That's right. By using AMSOIL synthetic motor oil, an AMSOIL bypass oil filter, and periodic oil analysis, this engine ran 409,000 miles on the same oil. So what would you expect to find? What kind of condition are these engine parts in? The actual footage you're about to see will tell the story. The 1990 Mack truck is owned by independent operator Haywood Gray of Colonial Heights, Virginia. Haywood began using AMSOIL synthetic motor oil in a 1984 Mack truck. That E9 700 V8 engine ran 100,000-mile oil drain intervals, and when torn down at 600,000 miles, the parts were found to be in excellent reusable condition. Haywood's 1990 Mack now stands at 630,000 miles. I'll be joined at the Virginia Truck Center by diesel engine rater Dick Maltby from the Lubersol Corporation. As an independent expert, Dick will examine the parts as they come out of the engine. You'll see firsthand what kind of effect a 409,000-mile extended drain interval using AMSOIL synthetic motor oil had on the cylinders, pistons, bearings, push rods, and valve train assemblies. The results may surprise you. Also pay close attention to the end of the video when Haywood is joined by AMSOIL dealer Jerry Reed as they discuss what Jerry describes as the icing on the cake. So let's go to the Virginia Truck Center and you'll see how you too can cut your operating costs and bottom line and put more money in your pocket. Dick, what do we have here now?
We've got some parts here from a 1990 Mack E7 engine, and these parts have been running for in excess of 630,000 miles, and the last oil change was somewhere around 440,000 miles ago. Other than that, there has been nothing but oil adds made to this, and the filters have been changed at a 25,000 mile interval.
So we're talking about at least 400,000 miles on the same change of oil.
On the same oil change, right. We're looking at a main bearing unit here. These are your lower mains, which would be the caps that would fit up under the crank onto the engine. We have light wear in these units. We have some overlay fatigue, good pattern, very normal for this mileage. Your upper units sit up in the top of the crank. They don't show the wear because they don't have the stress on them, but they do show a pattern in it, but actually there's no wear on that side of the bearing. All your wear is in your cap.
Okay, Dick, you're talking about minimal wear on these bearings. That's for an engine that has 600,000+ miles on it.
Yes.
But now this would be considered minimum wear if you were using, let's say, like a petroleum, changing it every 15 to 20,000 miles, correct?
Yes, it would compare to an engine that had normal 15 to 20,000 mile oil and filter changes.
Yet in this case, we're looking at an oil that was used 400,000+ miles.
Without the oil being changed.
Okay. Okay, Dick, what do we have here? The long tubes.
We have the push tubes. And basically all of your wear is on your tip, and the only wear is it's polished. There's no wear to speak of. And you've got that on both ends of it. And as you can see, the whole system is the same way.
So again, as far as 600 plus thousand mile unit, they're looking in pretty good condition.
These could go right back in the engine and be used again.
They're reusable then.
Yes.
Okay. And Dick, what do we have over here?
Here we have the crossheads off the engine, which are part of the valve train.
Dick, is this considered a high load area in this engine?
Yes, it can be. And under the circumstances with this engine, I would say that this is very good wear.
In a situation where, let's say, you were running a petroleum product, perhaps trying to go extended drain intervals, would you expect to see a great deal of wear in this area, or
you can see more wear depending on the product and the drain intervals on it? Yes.
So the fact that we've ran this oil 400,000 miles really hasn't seemed to be a compromising situation, at least in these parts here.
No, these parts look very, very good.
All right. Oh, what's next here, Dick?
Next we come down to the piston units along with the pins, which show absolutely no wear at all. Your liners, which are very hard to show you the wear into the camera, but the two units that we have here, there's very light wear. You have probably 95% of your crosshatch still in your liner. The polished areas would be in your ring turn areas where your piston reverses angle, and this is a normal situation that you will have polish in that area. There is absolutely no scuffing whatsoever in the liners. There's no sign of cavitation in the liners, and cavitation in the liners would be where the unit has been eaten away a little bit by the unit. This shows that this has had very good maintenance on it and has had, well, the proper maintenance done to it. So there's...
Dick, is this a reusable part? Is this something that could be reused now in the condition that it's in? Or?
I would say these liners could go back in under the condition that they're in and still be reused, yes. Your pistons. Okay, your pistons here, you have your normal carbon on your crown or dome, which shows your spray pattern from your nozzle. Your upper two lands have your carbon deposits. Third and fourth lands are minimal deposits. Skirts are very clean. They would have what I call few fine vertical lines, which is a very normal situation on the skirts. Your pins have absolutely no wear to them.
No compromise, at least in that area either.
No, and the rings are all very, very good. You're showing 100% face wear on your top ring, which is very normal. Your scraper is about a 35% wear area. All of the rings and all of the pistons were free, none were broken. Your oil rings had no plugging whatsoever.
Dick, they've just brought in some more, I believe it's valve train components. Perhaps you can tell us what they are and show us any of the wear points on them?
Okay, we have these units, the rocker shaft. Now we have the wear units facing up. Normally they would be reversed 180 degrees from where they're sitting on the table here. But your wear areas are right here, and also back where your push tubes would fit on the back side here.
This is these areas here now, these are pretty heavily loaded, sliding pressures on them?
They would meet your crosshead piece here. So as this part, these show very light wear. They're very good. Also, if you get down in here and check the shaft, you've got no wear on your shaft, which can be a heavily loaded area, which you can get a lot of scuffing on that if you get into a bad situation with a lot of dirt in the oil.
Okay, again, considering the type of service that we put that oil through, these look pretty good shape.
These look in very good shape. These, again, as the other parts, could go right back on the engine and run some more.
Okay. How about, yeah, I see we've got the oil pan down in here. Should we take a look at that real quick?
Yeah, we can just put this up on the table.
Give me a hand with it.
Okay, we can turn it so far without dumping oil all over.
Now this basically, the material we're looking at here pretty much wipes off.
Yes.
It's pretty light.
Normally in a pan like this, you would stand it up on edge and let everything drain to the bottom for 6 to 8 hours, and then everything that is left would be your sludge.
Okay, well this one we just pulled off a while ago.
Right, so there's a lot of oil draining down in here that would drain down in your 8-hour period.
Again, looking pretty good shape for
Looks in
considering
very
the
good shape
service.
considering the service it's been in, yes.
Okay.
This is exceptional for this engine, for not having had the oil changed in over 400,000 miles.
It was pretty much what we expected. The parts that the fellows examined and commented on, 630 plus thousand miles, over 400,000 miles without an oil drain, and those parts are in pretty darn good condition. It's just pretty much what we expected to see.
Yeah, it is. It's based on what we had with the V8 and the way the things went with the first engine. And no surprises here at all. Everything was just about what was predictable. I think we'd all pretty much sure what was going to look like. And of course now we've been vindicated. It's all come out precisely what we wanted on it.
Yeah.
Now what we've got here is we've shown that the 100,000-mile oil change is a futuristic thing you no longer need it. Not futuristic, but a passé thing. You don't need it anymore.
Right.
Take it as far as it'll go. Follow your analysis. It's right there in front of you. Do it. Believe it.
Mm-hmm.
Don't change your oil or change your way of thinking.
Yeah.
And we proved that.
And the other interesting thing I thought that I'd like to point out is the fact that most of these parts could be put right back into this engine and run and run and run and run.
Well, that's what Dick from Librosol said. We could reuse every part in there. There's really no reason we took this engine down other than we wanted to prove that these parts are still in as good a shape as any that could be put in there for this amount of mileage.
And then we got the little bonus.
Oh yeah, we had the bonus.
Yeah.
Gary called me on Thursday and said I told him to check the clutch, for adjustment. And he called me and said, you're going to have to come in here and take a look at this. We've got a problem. So I come in here and she shows me this tube cut in half and no grease in the throwout bearing. And it's totally seized up. There's no adjustment left of this thing. So he says, we're going to have to pull the clutch out. Well, in order to get the clutch out, the transmission's got to come out. Mm-hmm. So out comes the transmission. It's sitting on this bench here. Well, it's sitting down more, wouldn't up like it is here. And he takes a flashlight, looks down through the inspection cover and says, holy cow, look at this. We look down in there and there's no oil in it. Well, there's a gallon of oil, which is 1/4 of the amount of oil that should be in this transmission.
Yeah, wouldn't the level be somewhere normally up in this?
Normally here. Here's the hole, so it should be at the bottom of the hole, so it'd be right
up in here. And when it was opened up, it was down here, just barely touching the lower end of
that lower
this gear. Yeah.
And this transmission doesn't have a pump. The oil has to circulate. The gears pick it up and take it all around through this housing. Same way with when you go inside, the gears are meshed and pulling the oil to the top. Now what I had been doing all this time was there is another inspection hole here, and what this has a magnetic plug, and there's a sump behind this. So the oil is carried up through this transmission, and it comes down the walls of the transmission into this sump. The magnetic plug picks up any metal particles in it and cleans it out. But what I had been doing was pulling this plug out, sticking my finger in there, not realizing there's a sump behind here, and I always had oil, right?
So rather than checking your level through the fill plug, which is where you should have been checking it, you were actually checking it here and you were finding oil in it all the
always
time.
finding it in the sump, because the sump's always got oil in it.
You're running with about one quarter
of the oil I should have had. So whenever we looked at this, we figured there's no way that this transmission survived this.
The transmission hasn't been taken out and inspected yet.
No, it's out, but it's not pulled apart.
Right.
So we decided what we do is pull the back box off, and in the back box is where the shim pack's at, the clutch pack. So we decide from there we'll take a look at this and just see how much damage, what it's going to cost to repair all of this. So off comes the back cover, and they pull this apart, and of course the very first thing we do is we get into these shim packs. Now if you look at this shim pack, this thing is designed with this crosshatch pattern, and it works just like a clutch. And normally what would happen is if this thing didn't have enough oil, that thing would be about paper thin. It's just a ceramic.
You just ground away.
Oh yeah, we just wear it smooth, and it would be about paper thin. It would be, none of these grooves are left on it. And this is this plate down here, would of course would be burned from all of this happening. It would be blue. Well, if you can see here, the oil is still on these two pieces. Now this thing has been sitting like this since Thursday, which means it's been, well, we're talking 4 days. And the oil still has not drained off these parts.
And these parts have 630 plus thousand
miles. And there's not a thing wrong with it.
And it's run for we don't know how long.
But we figure at least 100,000 miles, or a whole lot better.
At 1/3. Never overheated.
Never overheated.
Never had any indication there was anything wrong. No noise problem.
No noise.
The parts are just like new.
Just like
There's no
the
damage.
bearings. You can see the bearings. See, there's nothing wrong with the bearings.
Yeah. Surfaces are all shiny.
All shiny. No marks, no grooves. All the gears are.
Yeah.
Nothing's turned blue. Nothing's shown any heat wear. Well, you can see it. It would show up right here, and it didn't. You see that thing? Look how.
Let me ask you: if it had done severe damage, what kind of money are we talking?
Well, this little shim pack right here, which consists of these pieces you see here, and there's 2 or 3 down there, that's $1,000 by itself.
Just the shim pack?
Just the shim pack. So to get a remanufactured transmission is about $5,000. So what we have here is maybe, what, 3 gallons of gear oil, and 1 gallon of the 7590 gear oil just saved me $5,000 in repairs from my own mistake here of pulling the wrong plug. So if anything, it shows you that this oil can save you from your own self in a lot of respects. For instance, if this was mineral oil, petroleum, this transmission 2 or 3 years ago would have gave it up.
Right.
And I would have had to replace all of this stuff, and it would have been a very expensive venture. As it was, we continued on, maintained a profit margin like it should be, and the oil.
And interestingly enough, the oil,
it's the same color as it was.
same color as when it comes out of the bottle.
You would almost think that's what you had done. If you run your hand along here, you would think, well, geez, they've just poured oil on this. But this thing, the gears, see, they've still got oil on them. You're still wiping oil off this thing, and it's not burned.
Not burned at all.
You
Still.
You smell it, and it's just got that oil smell. There's no burning and you notice here on the plate, you're not pulling off all kinds of mess that would have been carbonized to this from the heat.
Yeah,
that would have been a mess.
Well, this is just, this has really been a nice surprise as far as,
But it really all it does is it just solidifies your faith in this product, in that you know you've got a quality product, and you can put your faith in it and kind of walk away from it. And this indicates too that maybe this oil's been in here. Oh, geez, I don't know how long this oil's been in here. It's been in here about 5 years that we know of. And so that would be 500,000 miles, and which makes it a maintenance-free product. You really can walk away from it and make a stupid mistake like that and still
be protected.
Be protected. And I think that's the name of this game. If you could cut your cost, keep it at a minimum, and not be throwing money at something that, like some sacred cow, that we got to have this petroleum stuff in there. Well, you don't have to have it.
Well, the results have been just phenomenal, both with the engine and, of course, this little icing on the cake, the results from the transmission. And, we really appreciate all you've done in bringing this information to us, making the truck available to us, keeping good, tight records. Your analysis reports are all complete, and we really appreciate it. And we want to thank you for being able to...
I want to thank the people at AMSOIL, the people that engineered the product, Al for coming up with this idea, because I think what he has gone and done is not only in the area of pollution. We don't have, this product lasts 6, 10, well, I don't know how much longer it could go now. So that's less pollution. And it's a product that for once, when he says it'll lubricate it, It will last. It will not let you down. It does it.
And saves you
And saves
a lot
you a lot of money. A lot of money. And I'd much rather have it in my back pocket than be handing it out to somebody else. So
All
I
right.
want to thank the guys for that too.
Okay, thanks.
Yes.